Good early morning, everybody. It's July 2nd, 2024. I hope everybody's doing well. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Yes, I've been absent for a couple of days. There's been a lot going on here, and I've also been on the phone a lot. One of the things that happened today is I received a phone call from a woman, a targeted female that I know for a long time. Actually, since 2017, when I came into the program. Even though I've been targeted a lot longer than that, we start doing research on the internet. We kind of figure out what's happening to us. We join all of these online groups and start attending conference calls and stuff. And I actually met her through one of those conference calls. I do not get on those conference calls anymore, but we've stayed in contact with each other. But I haven't heard from her in a while. I know sometimes, it happens between targeted people. We get so fed up with the program that we would just want to stay to ourselves and stuff. But I received a phone call from her today that she was in a horrible auto accident. Her car was totaled. But she also said that she's had 3 auto accidents in a very short period of time, like in a couple of months. She continues to get sideswiped, etc. And in the targeting program, all of this is contrived and set up. And people don't have that many car accidents. Yeah, you might have a little fender bender, if you're on your cell phone and your car is sliding, you get a little bump. But no, her car was totaled. She ended up in the hospital with a lot of injuries. She's a woman in her late 60s, a registered nurse, highly intelligent, and fully employed. And when I received the phone call from her, she sounded completely lucid. But this is what happened. And the hospital's at fault here, and I do believe she's got a lawsuit. I'm just going to say for all the targeted people out there, this program is absolutely despicable. I hope you're reading what I wrote on this index card. I'll discuss that more tomorrow. This video is for spreading the word about Karen. Her name is Karen. That's her real name, Karen. She usually doesn't like to use her real name. A lot of targeted people don't. But she says, Lorraine, I don't care. She says, I want people to know what happened to me. So she was hospitalized. She was in the hospital for, she doesn't remember if it was 3 or 4 days. And then they released her, even though she wasn't ready to go home. They released her to her apartment. And then one of those care workers or somebody came to the apartment. And while she's talking to this person, Karen falls. And she said it felt as if somebody pushed her. And then she said out loud, I wonder if, something like they're cloaked. Well, this person, this spy person, latched on to the word cloak. Latched onto it, like white on rice. Like a predator. Like a stalker. Like a community watch snitch. And mentioned it to the hospital after she was brought back to the hospital because she fell again and hurt herself again. And she's on pain meds. Well, guess what they did today? This woman has a serious medical condition. Her spine, she's on pain meds. But because she used the word cloak, I kid you not, they're bringing her to a psych ward. That's right. I actually spoke to an individual there. I said, I don't understand why you're bringing her to a psych facility when she has a severe medical condition. I hope you know that you could get sued for this. And I instructed her to not pay, to inform her insurance to not pay for any stay at a psychiatric facility when she clearly has a medical condition with her car totaled. And he had the audacity to say the same thing. Well, she used the word cloak. Like cloaking is not a word? People are not cloaked? They're not stealthily stalking people? And I spoke to another targeted person in the community, another person I've known a long time, and he said that he has heard many people claim, many targeted people claim that they have felt that they are being pushed. So this is technology that maybe people are not aware of that does happen. So I'm going to wait to hear back from her tomorrow, because the way it works is they're going to take away her phone. And they're going to give her a number code that she's going to have to remember to give to anybody that calls, and they'll have to use that code in order to speak to her. This is a woman that just had an auto accident and her car was totaled. So this is a warning to all the targeted people out there that the medical community is not on your side. These auto accidents are clearly set up. They're set up to asset strip somebody, depreciate somebody, get them in a psych ward, get you on meds. This is an atrocity. We need a citizen journalist to speak out on this topic. Or maybe we can discuss it with the Institute for Justice. They seem to be winning a lot of lawsuits lately. You know, like the one against the FBI for stealing. Everybody, asset stripping, stealing all of their security boxes, all the money and gold and birth certificates and all the things that you put in one of those little security boxes, right? They stole them from people across the country. And IJ won the lawsuit against them. Anyway. Now, years ago, I would study the symbolism of animals. And I wrote something on mole wisdom. Mole, you know, like those little cute little, they look like cute little mice, but they don't have a long tail and they can't really see. They can't see. I find them on my property sometimes, or I should say I don't find them, but my cats will find them and drop one at my front door. They haven't done that in a while. They don't eat them. They just, you know, cats like to unalive them, right? They like to unalive them because they're no longer fun to play with when they stop wiggling. So I wrote this about mole wisdom, the mole totem. I actually wrote it on February 4th, 2011. Mole is a symbol of introspection. When a mole appears in a dream, crosses your path, or through meditation, it's there to teach you to listen carefully to your inner self and to trust your intuition. A mole totem gives you a heightened sense of touch. If mole entered your life, you may derive more pleasure from touch sensation or become more aloof because of your acute sensitivity. Psychic touch is also possible with a mole totem. Individuals with the gift of psychic touch can feel, quote-unquote, and know, quote-unquote, the inner workings of the person being touched. Many Reiki professionals, those highly attuned with sensing energy fields, may possess psychic touch. They may be a medical intuitive sensing disease through the energy fields of others. People with a mole totem need to trust their senses. They will know what is true and what is false with just a touch. And that's not something that we're able to do through the internet. Mole is also a guide to the underworld, to hidden treasures and mysterious places. Fresh air is extremely important to a mole person. Remember, mole is blind and also a digger, always searching for his treasures, which he ultimately finds. And as a totem or a power animal, the mole connects you to the energies of the earth and gives an understanding of the earth's cycles and movements. And according to Urban Dictionary, the derogatory meaning for a mole is a spy, an informer, a snitch, a rat, someone who penetrates or enters a circle of friends or organization for the sole purpose of gathering sensitive or classified information and leaking it to an opposing or competing group for personal gain. They may also be an opportunist. It's a troublemaker or a gossip. I've personally experienced a female mole, quote unquote, on Facebook. A female with an agenda posing as a friend. The Frienemy. Their own word used to describe another female. This Frienemy was a 7.5-year subscriber of this blog. And I shared a lot of astrology and personal information intermittently, yet more frequently when she connected on Facebook last year. How do you think she demonstrates her supposed friendship? She friends 300 of my friends and coworkers on Facebook, then friends their friends. This woman was aware of my interest in a guy that I've known for 8 years, and guess what she did? She sent him a friend request and more likely shared confidential information with him. Shortly thereafter, the guy unfriended and blocked me. Isn't this reminiscent of what you may have experienced as a teenager? Even though I didn't experience these dynamics during school years, it sounds like junior high school stuff, and it's so difficult to comprehend this devious behavior could be demonstrated by a woman who's 60 years old. And this was in 2011. So my targeting began before this, and this woman was part of it. So a few friends offered comfort and guidance, and they also stated that they didn't trust this woman's intentions either. For some reason, she was in competition and latched on when she realized I knew astrology, wanting to emulate and overpower me. She knew of my interest in this guy and aimed to sabotage the relationship. This dynamic was evident by her commenting on every post on my wall, either by me or a friend, sometimes nonsense to gain attention. In January, her postings suddenly stopped completely. I breathed a sigh of relief until her undermining intentions were discovered that she continues to perpetrate. Do you really know who all those quote-unquote friends are on your friends list? Have you seen this or similar dynamic unfold online? So watch your back and your wall, and trust only those who have earned its gift. While my situation isn't an isolated incident, there's much more to the story. These breaches of confidentiality are becoming commonplace as we stay connected through various social networks. Without face-to-face and or voice-to-voice contact, people essentially remain anonymous. Many people also pose under different aliases or avatars to cover their true identity. Others post a profile photo more than 30 years old, as did this woman. Issues of plagiarism and copyright infringement abound, a topic recently discussed amongst professional astrologers. How would you have handled the situation had it happened to you? Tell me your thoughts about the woman's behavior. What actually motivated such deceptivity and cruel betrayal? I certainly learned a valuable lesson about human nature and trusting too easily. I look forward to hearing your feedback. And on a more positive note, the Chinese believe that every mole on the body has a special hidden meaning. Moles on the front of the body generally bring good fortune. A woman with a mole on her belly, on either side of the navel, usually means she'll have an attractive mate and or she is attractive. A mole on the stomach signifies one who has everything going for them. Your life will be smooth and safe. This is a very lucky mole, and better if it's small. A mole that's in the center of a man's chest may indicate he's kind and has a warm heart. For a detailed body of mole chart, click here, body moles, and I have a link there. Currently, and this was back in 2011, and this is astrology, by the way, the Arabic part of gossip, which transiting at 27 degrees of Pisces conjunct Uranus. The Arabic part of insincerity is transiting 28 Aries to 41. What are the degrees of these parts in your chart? In the charts of people you know, feel free to share your own experiences. So, again, I wrote this in 2011. And yes, I was a popular professional astrologer who taught classes, had a multitude of clients, and lectured. So now when I look back at this, it confirms in my mind that my targeting began before 2012. I've been looking back at a lot of information that I've saved. And I believe it goes back to 2009, although so many people I speak to say, Lorraine, these people know your birth chart. Well, I know they do. They absolutely do. That they know your birth chart when you're born. And that they just use opportunities during your lifetime as you're growing to bring you into the program and or target you when you're becoming more powerful, when you're at the height of your earning potential, when you're at your height of spiritual awareness, when you start to wake up, that is when your targeting begins for a variety of reasons. So once again, the mole wisdom. Mole is a symbol of introspection. And when a mole appears in a dream, crosses your path through meditation, it's there to teach you to listen carefully to your inner self and trust your intuition. Because a mole is blind, it has a heightened sense of touch. It needs to touch the ground and sense vibrations in order to navigate around. It can't see. And psychic touch is also possible with a mole totem. But it's also a guide to the underworld, to hidden treasures and mysterious places. And again, according to the Urban Dictionary, the derogatory meaning for a mole is a spy, an informer, a snitch, a rat. Someone who penetrates or enters a circle of friends or organization for the sole purpose of gathering sensitive or classified information and leaking it to an opposing or competing group for personal gain. May also be an opportunist, a troublemaker, or a gossip. Now, I want to tell you something. There was somebody on my property within the last week or so, and they pointed to my 2 baby guineas, and I discussed them. I like to discuss them because they're very interesting little birds. They're very hard to raise. They die frequently. They're so tiny, teeny tiny. Even after a couple of months, they're so much tinier than like a baby chick, the way a baby chick grows. So I had a conversation with this woman about the 2 guineas, and then suddenly, tonight, sometime between 8:03 p.m. and 9:30 p.m., they disappeared. Now, these little birds, They're always together. And they go into the coop together and go to sleep in the coop together. They're very difficult to catch. They are crazy fast birds. The only way that you can catch these birds is at night, sort of like a rooster, you know? You have to wait for them to be roosting in the coop. Well, once again, I went into the cat's building, and while I was in there, I heard a ruckus with my guineas. You know, they're watchbirds. They start cackling and honking. And that happened when I was inside the nonprofit building. I heard that. And I picked myself up and ran outside. I didn't see anything at the time. I wasn't thinking that somebody was stealing my animals. But a little later, when I went to lock everybody up, and I always check, I always, I have a little flashlight that I carry with me to look around, make sure everybody's there, do a head count. And I looked everywhere, and they're gone. They're nowhere. And it's like clockwork. They go into the coop every night together, and they're both gone. Now, what's the likelihood of them both being gone? And then, of course, I looked everywhere on the property. Everywhere that I thought that they might have been. Let's say they didn't go into the coop. Maybe they're just hanging out. I looked all their little hiding spots. Nowhere. And also, if one were lost, they have a screeching little chirp. So if one didn't make it in the coop and one were in the coop, the one that were not in the coop would be chirping like crazy. Although that wouldn't happen because it's old enough to get into the coop by itself. But even if it were lost, you'd hear it screaming. And that didn't happen. And they're gone. Totally gone. So this is what happens to Lorraine in rural Kentucky. I moved here from New Jersey in 2019. Within 3 days of my living here, 4 of my cats were stolen. 4 were stolen. Within the next 2 months, 2 more were stolen, and 1 was poisoned with antifreeze. Yeah, what the lovely people around here did is they emptied the water dish and instead poured antifreeze on the ground. And it was the summertime, so my cat licked it. Went into convulsive seizure. And yeah, I did videotape it. It's on video. So out of those 28 rescue cats that I brought here, and then I transported 2 back that got stuck in New Jersey, 9 are alive. And of the 9, like the Zoom cat, he was dumped here. And how about the honeypot cat that was dumped here and attacked me? And then what about the 2 cats that existed on this property when I moved here, that the previous owner were likely caring for? One was shot by my neighbor, and the other one just suddenly disappeared. And what about the mama hen that was stolen away from her 4 baby birds? So this is what happens here in Kentucky. And yeah, I am going to be reporting it, along with all the other things that were stolen here. Because I've got a list. All that's happened within the last couple of months. It's quite long and it's quite costly. So anyway, that's my little rant. So what does a mole mean to you? Have you ever, studied animal totems or animal symbolism. Please leave a comment down below. And what do you think about that story about the mole friend, this female with an agenda posing as a friend on Facebook, a Frienemy? This is back in 2011. She was a subscriber to my blog for 7 years. And then she ends up friending 300 of my friends and coworkers on Facebook, and then their friends. How would you handle that? What would you say? Is that something, or was that a symbol back then, back in 2011, that I was being targeted? Please leave a comment down below. Remember to hit the thumbs up, please. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. I'm really looking forward to your questions and comments on this. And also, please keep Karen in your prayers, because she suffered some very bad injuries in this auto accident, and she should not be in a psych facility. She needs to be in a medical facility. But anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. I hope everybody's doing well.